If I have something to say about the Ukraine war with Russia, it's a topic I'm not comfortable with. God wants me to talk about it, and so I will. Like I said, it's not something that I'm comfortable. Politics isn't my favorite thing to discuss or talk about. So I asked God, what is this you wish me to say about the war in Ukraine with Russia? And God says, say this. If you're Russia, you need to quit fighting Ukraine. It's true. You need to stop being a dick to Ukraine, because Ukraine's not your enemy. They're your neighbors and they're your friends when you let them be your friends, because they're the ones who need your help, when they're the ones who know that your help is something you can stretch and you can reach far, and you can take this war and stick it up in nobody's ass, because you can stop fighting them and they can have their peace. And if they have their peace, then what will the peace look like for you? You started something and you went in hard, and you went in to go ahead and make a point, to say they're wrong, to say you're right, to say that they're the ones who are going to lose the fight. But you got dicked, you got fucked, because they're the ones who took that fight, took it to you. Now they're winning their lands back and they're making progress in the way you can too. But they're the ones who need to fight, because they're the ones who need to be right, that they're the ones who have a home, that they're the ones who have a place to go. You're the ones who come from across the street, from next door, and you come in, you don't come in meek. You come in hard, and you come in mean, and you come in a way that you think has steam. And steam is something that you don't have, because they're the ones who are winning now. They're the ones who are taking back what you took from them, and that is a fact. And they've learned to fight in new ways, and they've learned to be stronger in new ways. They're a country that's on the come up, is true. They're a country that will run you through. They will take the fight to your door. They will take the fight, and then they'll win more. But if they win more and they're on your side of the street, if they're the ones who are not meek, if they're the ones who think that they can win, if they can take back what you thought you'd keep, you would not lose your skin. You're the ones who need payback now. They're the ones who want payback. They're the ones who've lost family and friends. They're the ones who've lost loved ones in their hands. They're the ones who've lost their homes. They're the ones who run in the street. They're the ones who starved and have to feel meek. They're the ones who chased you down and killed your children too. They're the ones who have those drones. They're the ones who've made an army that buzzes and finds its target, even at home. And if this is what the Almighty wanted me to get to, He says to say this, about drones. That's what He wanted me to talk about. I'm reticent because I don't know anything about that. But wait. So I asked God, what is it that you wish me to say about the drones that Ukraine has, sir? God says, say this. If you're a drone pilot and you know how to fight, you know how to stick that drone up an enemy's eye and pull the trigger and blow him up and kill him dead, that's what you can do. You can see their face, and there's videos of that, of so many young men, soldiers, being chased to the ground, hiding, running, and not being able to get away. Lucky as hell if it's a dud and it doesn't explode in their face. You don't see the body parts fly or the body damage. You don't see the blood because the camera shuts off right away. There's another drone in the area filming too, or just watching. You might see more, but you don't get to see more on what's shown is true. There's stuff like that out there for sure. And if you're the pilot who knows what you can do with that drone, then you're the one who knows too that technology has come far is not untrue. And you're using it in a way that's helping you to win a war that you didn't know you'd ever have to fight that way. The drone capacity of Ukraine has escalated, has elevated to a degree that God says they know how to fight now with those things. And those things make a difference because they're new and they're different in the way that they use them. and the technology and the communication that they can use. When they use those things, can also isolate and target individuals. And this is where it goes too far. So what God tells me is true. If you're the pilot and if you're the leader, and you're the one who says, we have this man in our sights that we must kill because he's the one responsible for all this ill. He's a Russian soldier, a leader. He's a Russian man of merit, of degree, of power, of wealth, of position. And we must kill him to pay for our pain. It's not true. To pay back for what he is part of and responsible for. And if he's someone that does things that we don't like and he continues to exist and he brings more fight, then we're the people that need to do something about it. We're the soldiers, the Ukrainians, are the ones who need to do something about it. Their soldiers can fight anywhere. It's true. They have experience. It's true. And they have a country that they fought for and won back. It's true. And they're still fighting every day through and through. And there's a human side to this war that you don't see. Normally, it's true. You don't get to see the rescue that their soldiers do, the care, the way they are. But if you're a soldier and you think that you are a star, then the realness of what you can do is to believe that there's a real way for you to know that your fight is something that you can prove. It's not something you take too far, because then you lose. Because if you take a drone and you keep going back and you keep going to where the fight comes from, to the homes of those who lead, to the soldiers that you believe are the ones who hurt you, destroyed your homes, then you're the one who knows where they are in their homes. And you can find them and you can kill them. Individual death can make a difference isn't really untrue. But if you do that, is what God says is true, then you will start something anew. You will start a war of a different kind. It's not true. You will bring the hate and the mistake. You will make the Russians hate you more, but you won't know how much they hate because they're the ones who made the mistake, and they're the ones who don't know what's going to be their fate now. They're the ones who will wonder why you haven't done this before, and that's not a lie, because once you do it once or twice, if you haven't already done it, that's a fact, it's true. Because if you can target individuals in their homes where borders don't matter and it's just a drone can hide amongst just the regular of what people fly just for pleasure. But it can be a bomb, it can be a gun, it can be anything that can cause destruction. It can be a warning too, and that's true. And that might be something God says, nah, you don't need to do. It's true. The people that can do that don't need to be warned. It's true. They don't need to be told this is what's going to happen to you. Because that's just a way for them to know that there's something that they need to do now so that they don't come back to their homes. A warning sometimes is not the best thing to do. That just sets you up for failure, is what God says is true. If you have to act, then you act fast, and you act fast so you don't get a pass on the chance to make the correction, to make the mistake again of having the chance to kill someone who killed so many of your kin. It's true. Of your family, your friends, the ones you loved. Because emotion is something that can gain in a war where you need to trust that the fight you bring is the fight you have. And the fight that's theirs for anyone to have, like you and me, if we face the same. I would hope that we would be the same, that we wouldn't sit and let them just run over us too, that if we pick up a gun if we had to, and we'd fight in the street, we'd fight in the way that the Ukrainians have fought for their country, the same way, because we're the same as them, it's true. And if we have to fight for our homes like they do, I don't want to get emotional about this. God says to say this. If you're a warlord, no, if you're a leader of a country, yeah. If you're Zelensky of Ukraine, if you're Putin of Russia, What is it that you're going to do and you don't win for Russia what you want? Putin, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there simmer and stew, or are you going to go ahead and make friends because they're next door to you? And you fought them and you didn't beat them. You hurt them bad. You made bad blood. And that's something for a country your size to not need to have with a country that's on the growth, on the make, like Ukraine. Ukraine isn't in ruins. Ukraine has a backbone, a spine that many in this world haven't seen in a country. The way that it just started from almost nothing is not true. It was an economic powerhouse. The potential is true. And now that's true and that's real. And the resourcefulness of its people to come up with a new way to fight and to ask people who they could ask for to have the humility and to set aside their pride that they needed in order to be able to stay alive. And we saw that on display when Zelensky went and asked Trump for money, and money lectured him in public. Zelensky swallowed his pride, and he took it for the team, so to speak. He took it for his country, it's true. He took it so he could get what he wanted. This is a soldier man who on a daily faced death, was being lectured by someone newly elected into an office. But he was elected to, and he didn't have the same life that Zelensky was living. He didn't feel the same way Zelensky felt. He doesn't know what Zelensky had to go through to get to where he's sitting in a room with someone who's comfortable and someone who's right and someone who's powerful and someone that he needs to respect. Is true. Because Trump has got the respect from Zelensky is not untrue. But Zelensky also let it slip through that he wasn't happy with what Trump was doing with him. He wasn't happy with the way that Trump was dealing with him. And the way that Trump needs to be with Zelensky is to let him know that he's with him. Ukraine is a powerful country. It's true. It has a lot of technology and it has ways to come through to help itself to rise up in a way that it will rise up, because the war in Ukraine is something that God says is not. It's something that's going to be over, and something that needs to be thinking about the future, about what comes after, because it can't go on. Russia's the one who's going to lose out if it continues to go this route. If Russia brings a bigger fight because it just needs one more push, it's going to stir up a hornet's nest. Not true. Zelensky's going to have to decide what to do. Because if he has the means to be able to target individuals, is that what he'll do? Is that the deterrent that he'll use when he starts to kill individuals in their home country, in their home base, or in their safe space? What is it that will happen after if that's what happens? He'll be the target and he'll be on the run, because those men who didn't hunt him like that will hunt him now. And he will be at great risk of being taken out. It's true. And a man like Zelensky needs to fight, and he needs to know that his worth of fight is to help his country to grow and to make the peace, so that the people know that if the peace is what they need to live and believe is possible, then they're the ones who need to know that the peace is real. And two men who fought from afar shake hands one day in a public display of brotherhood, no, of peace. Of let's get along, I agree. I can be in a room with you and not call you a murderer, not call you a thief, not call you a degenerate, no, call you a scumbag, or call you a monster, call you just a mass murdering. I can shake your hand for the people I love. I can shake your hand for the peace I want. For my people and for me is what Zelensky can do. And Putin too. He'll have to swallow his pride is not wrong. But it's a pride of the wrong kind is not true. It's just something he's going to have to do. And if I'm the one who doesn't know shit about politics, and I'm the one who doesn't know why I talk about something that I'm not really wanting to talk about, then I'm the one who doesn't really know how So I asked God, how much more you want me to say about this? Because God says to me like this. He says to me, it's not true. He says, you can talk more, but you can go ahead and wrap it up and say, if you're Zelensky or you're Putin, I hope that you find the peace in your heart and in the way in the future that those two countries that you are part of amazing people, powerful people, strong people, smart people, capable people, people that can go far, have come far. And I hope that you can stop killing each other. Make a peace that lasts and make a peace that's real, so that your children and your children's children don't have to live in the embers of what could be a bigger mistake if war continues. And with that I say, amen.